flowers. And flowers are obviously wonderful, but you need to have some greenery in a garden as well. And ferns have been one of the hottest commodities in your gardening centers. But this type of fern is not one you would normally find at a local garden store. These are Japanese patterned ferns, or painted ferns, pardon me. And you can see where each one of them is joyously kind of covered by several different shades. One of them is a little bit like a maroon with a frosted white greenery. The other one looks almost purple in its design. Free shipping and handling, 3 easy pay payments of just $13.22, gives us a QVC price of less than $40 for these. And these are absolute perennials. These are plants that you'll have for decades. And I love that you've got the samples out there instead of just some photographs as well. We need things other than flowers. I use the analogy, if you're a student and you highlight every word on the textbook, then none of the words are important anymore. You can't just have color, you've got to have some green in there too.
Isn't that the truth? And having something unusual that will work at a shade garden. Our growers, again, they're always on the hunt for the really unusual yet easy to grow plants. And this color is so amazing. The color of the leaves of this fern have this silvery cast to them, but then they have a purple hue that is just so beautiful. So we were mixing this into our shade gardens. And like you said, there's a lot of green in the shade garden. This is just going to give you another color. The texture of this is absolutely beautiful. And if anyone loved our white feather hosta, imagine the white feather hosta
Yes.
in the area of these ferns. You'll have that beautiful woodland garden look that is absolutely spectacularly delicious and different than everything else. You know, ferns are really popular right now. A lot of our customers are loving fern plants and using the foliage as cut, with their cut flowers. But put these also into your containers. When you're doing your containers, a big fern on your patio, if you have a shady area, this is a must-have fern. This is something that was the best-selling fern in our flower shop, and it's because it's easy to grow, and customers stop dead in their tracks when they look at that silver foliage with the beautiful lavender hue, but then it has this like pinky red vein in it as well. So pretty. Again, Dan, it doesn't get too big, like 12 to 18 inches tall, about 24 inches wide. So it's such a manageable plant. And once you plant this, you're done. This is going to
Yep.
come back year after year. Low maintenance. You never have to touch it again.
Ferns can also, by their nature, be kind of prickly. So if you have them in areas where you're walking close by, but not with these. These are a soft textured fern. And they thrive in areas where often plants feel neglected. So you were talking shaded areas. If it gets a little bit of sunlight in the day, that's perfectly fine. But our shaded spaces, right now we're complaining that it's cold outside. When it gets to be August, we're going to complain because it's hot outside. We're going to be living in those shady spaces. So you want something that adds texture and visual excitement. And ferns, like you said, they're hard to keep in inventory at any garden center, but they don't have this type usually. These are fun.
Exactly. The color on this is truly unique. The maintenance on this is truly so low. And the look that it gives those shady areas, I love. I just think of like Peter Rabbit hopping through the ferns. But
Yep.
guess what? The rabbit doesn't particularly like to eat these, and neither do the deer. That is a winner for me. Low maintenance, super unusual color, something that you're not going to see everywhere, and it accentuates everything else in the garden because it is that little pop of surprise of color, silvery casting on it, and then the lavender hues. And then I also see, like in the veining in it, it gets this pinky purple in that stem of the vein there. that is just unique, beautiful, adding this to your containers or into the garden itself and
Yep.
having these specimen plants in and amongst your shady areas is something that is so unique. And in the spring, all the way to that first frost, you're going to have this gorgeous plant. And then every year, it's coming back again. And it's not going to take over the garden. It stays pretty much that size and shape. I love that.
Anybody who lives up here in the Northeast has probably had ferns that didn't make it through a winter because of mildew. These are extremely resistant to mildew. So you get that beautiful colorization, you get those soft, fluffy, feather-like leaves, and if you plant them close enough together, they become this wonderful ground cover. The very first garden that you come to at my farm, which is out by the road, I didn't want to plant flowers there because I knew it was going to take a lot of work. So it's a fern garden. The entire area is done in ferns, and they're ferns from all over the world. But these are some of the most hardy and resistant, and yet they look to be the most exotic. Everybody's seen the regular green ferns, and we've got those. I think they're really cool. They're different.
They really look hard to grow too, and they're not. We are going to give these, you'll get, this is the what you get right here. So here are the two plants, and they're already sprouting. And this is such an easy one to plant. You're just going to dig a hole large enough to accommodate the roots and the soil there. You're going to plant it right at soil level. Again, all of our plants come with the grow guide. So if while you're planting or growing, you have any questions, I just put these in a file and I refer back to them almost like I refer back to a recipe, and it has lots of tricks and helpful hints in there. Water that in, whether you're using the sprayer that just makes it so much easier to water in because it has all the different adjustments on the nozzle. But with the blossom booster, this really makes a huge difference in your plants and them getting all the nutrients that they need to be the best that they can be. And you're going to love your new fern friends in your shade garden.
Plant them about 2 feet apart from one another. And if you're picking them up in multiples, they will spread. It does take about 3 years, but they'll spread about 2 feet by 2 feet. They're gorgeous. Now don't forget the reblooming daylilies. With 1,000 variety of daylilies that are out